The next step, and the one that most remember that we've already discussed, is the Emancipation Proclamation. By July of 1862, Lincoln had decided to use his power as commander-in-chief, his war powers, to free all the slaves in states then at war with the United States. And we said he needed a victory to emphasize his action, and Antietam was the closest thing they'd come. And so they used it. He said on September 22nd of 1862 that as of January 1st of the following year, then I do order and declare that all persons held as slaves within the designated states and parts of states are henceforward free, and that the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authorities thereof, shall recognize and maintain the freedom of said persons. It was, as we know, stronger on proclamation than it was on emancipation. Not a single slave was set free immediately because it only applied to the states then in rebellion. It was actually an attempt to entice those states back into the Union. We know it didn't apply to the border states, but it does commit the U.S. government to a policy of abolition in the South. And it foreshadows the ultimate end of slavery. It also effectively removes any chance of a negotiated settlement. Now the war is going to have to go until one side surrenders or the other. We talked about how initially the North was fighting to preserve the Union, but this enlarges the purpose of the war on the North. Now they're fighting for something. The South had its cause to defend its homeland, its way of life. Now the North is fighting to end slavery. And everywhere they go, they become an army of freedom that is setting free slaves in their wake. Not everybody in the North was happy with this. We've talked about particularly in urban areas and in the Butternut region right along the border of Kentucky. They said they were fighting for the Union, not to free the slaves. And you see an increase in northern desertions that leads to that actually led to them doing the Conscription Act. And Lincoln, some of the off-year elections in 1862 in that region went heavily against Lincoln. But again, it was momentous in that the further the Northern troops advanced, more slaves were set free. And it actually sparks fears that there's going to be a massive refugee wave coming to the North. Hundreds of thousands, approximately 25% of the slave population walked away from slavery to seek protection from Union troops. All in all, about 200,000 of those that walked away from slavery are going to end up serving in the Union Army. And you're going to take a minute to please read about the Mass 54th in a reading you're going to take tomorrow.